Hey, what's up guys? Rafiel coming at you with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype analysis, and as you can tell by the playmat and the Joey token and the Red Eyes Black Dragon over here, we're going to be doing a Red Eyes Archetype analysis. We have a lot of cards to get through, so I'm going to go through as quickly as I can to try and keep the video as short as I can. But as always guys, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel, let me know how you like the content, leave me some comments, and let me know if you would like to see an Archetype analysis for Dark Magician or for Blue Eyes. I am working on doing an OJAMA one once a new OJAMA stuff comes out, and I will be doing Cyber Dragons very soon as well, so I'm not just going to be doing classic Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Anyway guys, let's get into the video. I'm going to go as quickly as I can. So we're going to start with the Red Eyes Black Dragon. So it's a ferocious dragon with a deadly attack. It is a level 7 Dark Dragon with 2400 attack and 2000 defense points. It's the signature monster of Joey Wheeler and Atticus from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Next up we have the Black Stone of Legend. So this is the pseudo White Stone of Legend for the deck. You'll see there's a lot of references to the Blue Eyes cards in this, and a lot of references to cards that have been used by Joey or against Joey in this in his duels as well, in these Red Eyes cards. So this card can be, you contribute this card and special summon one level 7 or lower, a Red Eyes monster from your deck, except Red Eyes Black Chick. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target one level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, except Red Eyes Black Chick, shuffle it back to the deck, and add Black Stone of Legend to your hand. You can only use each effect of Black Skull Dragon, of each effect of the Black Stone of Legend once per turn, and only once per turn. So Red Eyes Black Chick is a card you're going to be seeing hearing a lot of in this, because of how, speaking of Red Eyes Black Chick, if you can you can send this face-up card you control to the graveyard, special summon one Red Eyes Black Dragon from your hand. He's basically card man for the deck, but because of his mistranslation of the name, a lot of the early Red Eyes cards will say except Black Chick. So we're going to set him up here because he's adorable. Love these hatching out of the egg, but yeah, a lot of cards are going to mention him. Next up, we have Red Eyes Baby Dragon. So Baby Dragon, if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, and if you do, equip this card to it from the graveyard, and it gains 300 attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can add one level 1 Dragon type monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So really good, because Black Chick and Black Stone of Legend and Black Metal Dragon, which we'll see a bit later, are all level 1 dragons. It's a very nice card, and it's the most valuable card, I think, still in Legendary Dragon, Legendary Duelist 1. Still very stable for Red Eyes decks. I think about at least 2 to 3 to play in Red Eyes decks. Next up, we have Red Eyes Wyvern. So Red Eyes Wyvern is the only Red Eyes monster in the entire archetype that is not that's a wind monster. And it can, during your main phase, during your end phase, if you did not normal summon or set a monster this turn, you can banish from your graveyard, special summon one Red Eyes monster from your graveyard, except Black Chick. Really cool play you could do with this was with Black Skull, Darkness Metal Dragon, where you'd mill them both with like Future Fusion or something, and then you'd special summon Darkness Metal with like Call the Hornet, and then use Darkness Metal to bring something else out, and then bring another Red Eyes out, because at that time, Darkness Metal Dragon was not limited, so you could play him in Chaos Dragons, Disaster Dragons. Next up, we have Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. So can only be special summoned from your deck by tributing a Red Eyes Black Dragon equivalent Metamorph, which is a trap which Joey did use against Bandit Keith. Next up, we have Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. So this is the boss monster of Atticus Rhodes, or Night Shroud / Darkness, the main villain from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. It's the counterpart to the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. It can only be summoned by attributing from your hand by attributing Red Eyes Black Dragon, and it gains 300 attack for each dragon monster in your graveyard. It's a decent GX boss monster, but it has no protection, so it dies way too easily. Next up, we have the combination of these two, which is Darkness Metal Dragon. So it can be special summoned from your hand by banishing one dragon monster you control, and once per turn you can special summon one dragon monster from your hand or graveyard, except Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This card is insane, and it is splashable in so many dragon decks. And it's one of the main reasons why a lot of these other Red Eyes cards do say level 7 or lower. Next up, we have Red Eyes Retro Dragon. So this is another Red Eyes card that is based on a card that Joey has used. Obviously, Baby Dragon was based on the Baby Dragon that Joey used. There is no Red Eyes Alligator's Sword, unfortunately, but Red Eyes Retro Dragon is based off the Time Machine trap, which he used in his duel against Bandit Keith, after sealing it with Copycat. If the level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster you control is destroyed by your opponent's attack or card effect and sent to the graveyard while this card is in your hand, you get to special summon this card in defense, along with as many of those dragons as possible in their same positions. And then once per turn, you can normal summon another Red Eyes monster in addition to your normal summon. So because he's a level 4, you could use that to normal. You can normal this guy and then use his effect to normal summon a Gear Freed and go into a rank 4. or you could go into a link 2 or whatever. Red Eyes do with links, I don't really know. But yeah, this card's really cool. Nice little decent hand trap that Red Eyes had access to, and reminds me of Deep Eyes, or Deep Eyes was based on this. I don't know, to be honest, what came first. Next up, we have another gem. We have our first Gemini monster. So if you guys don't know about Gemini monsters, they did exist a while back, and they basically count as normal monsters in your graveyard and on your field until they're normal summoned, and they're effect monsters in your hand and in your deck. The effects are meant to be quite strong, that they do require an extra normal summon, but they're just way too slow. There is a field spell for Gemini monsters, but you don't really want to run in Red Eyes because you don't have space for it. So if you do manage to normal summon this guy again while he's on the field, he works a lot like a Inferno Fire Blast. If this damage calculation is performed involving this card, at the end of the battle phase, you get to ping your opponent for the damage of your Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. So it's not bad. It's good if you do a direct attack because you do 4,800 damage. Next up, we have Black Metal Dragon. So this is our third and currently last level 1 dragon that we have for the deck. It works very much like a Union monster that we can have equipped from our hand or on our field to a Red Eyes monster, and it gains 600 attack. And if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, either as equipped or on the field as a monster, we can add 1 Red Eyes card from your deck to hand. Very, very good. It can also be added to our hand from Baby Dragon, and we can equip as many as we want. And it works really well with Gearfried, which we're going to get to very, very soon. Next up, we have our first Ritual Red Eyes monster, which is the Paladin of Dark Dragon. So it can be Ritual summoned with Dark Dragon Ritual, and at the start of the damage step, if it attacks a defense position monster, it doesn't matter if it's face up or face down, you get to destroy it. And then you contribute this card and special summon 1 Red Eyes monster from your deck, from your hand or deck, except Red Eyes Black Chick, and you can only use this effect per Paladin Dark Dragon once per turn. And Paladin Dark Dragon is basically based on Paladin of White Dragon, which can't be used, and is obviously a much better version of that. Its ritual spell is not, it's just basically a generic ritual spell, but it also has the extra effect of being able to banish from your graveyard to add a Red Eye spell trap from your deck to your hand. It doesn't have Red Eyes in its name, meaning it isn't searchable, but it can search your other Red Eyes cards, so it's not horrible. Whereas the other, it's kind of the reverse with the other ritual monster, which is Lord of the Red. So Lord of the Red, if you don't know, did appear in Joey's final duel against Valen in Waking the Dragons, and is meant to be basically Joey bonded with his Red Eyes. It's a really cool idea for a monster that you can play if you really want to be Joey. You really want to channel your inner Joey in this deck. Once per turn, when a monster is special summoned or a spell trap is activated, you can or monster is special summoned, you can target 1 monster on the field and destroy it, or you can destroy a spell trap. So it's up to you what you're going to use, but you can use each effect once per turn. It doesn't have Red Eyes in its name, unfortunately, but its ritual spell is a generic ritual spell that does have Red Eyes in its name, so it is searchable. Next up, we have the other forms of Red Eyes that don't particularly work with this deck. We have Red Eyes Toon Dragon, which I went over in my Toon Archetype analysis. Has the Toon effect, can summon Toons from hand. Pretty simple. Malefic Red Eyes is probably the worst monster you're going to see in this entire list. It has no synergy with the deck whatsoever, and it's even shit in Malefics. You do need a field spell to summon it. You have to banish a Red Eyes from your deck to summon it, and no other monsters can attack their attacks, and if there's no field spell, you destroy it. But it looks freaking awesome. Red Eyes Zombie Dragon is a zombie version of Red Eyes that when it destroys a zombie monster, you can special summon it to your side of the field. Zombie World turns your opponent's monsters on their field in their graveyard to zombies as well. So this guy is a zombie, but it is a level 7 Red Eyes monster, so it can be summoned through Blackstone, believe it or not. Next up, we have, moving on to Red Eyes Friends. We have Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning, which is another Gemini monster that is based, retrain of the Summoned Skull, that has the Red Eyes name to make it more synergical with Archetype, and if you do manage to get its Gemini effect off, once per turn, you can destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls with defense lower than this card's attack. Really, really cool. Next up, we have the retrain of Meteor Dragon, which is Meteor Comet Dragon, another Gemini monster. And if you get its Gemini effect off, it is other related monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Finally, we have Gearfried, the Red Eyes Iron Knight. So this is obviously the retrain of Gearfried, the Iron Knight. Unfortunately, there is no Gearfried Flame. There is no Red Eyes Flame Swordsman. I did see a custom card for it, which looked pretty sick. But there's no one at the moment. Once per turn, if either player equips an equip card to this card, you can destroy those equip cards. Then you can destroy 1 spell trap your opponent controls. And then once per turn, you can send an equip card that is controlled, that is equipped to this card to the graveyard and target 1 level 7 or lower Res monster in your graveyard and special summon it. This guy works really well with Black Metal Dragon and Baby Dragon, that you've got so many things you can equip really easily, especially because you can equip like Black Metals from your hand ridiculously fast and then blow them up and get their search effects. Insane. Moving on to the rest of our spells, we have Inferno Fire Blast, Red Eye's own spell card because he's a major key monster. Inflict damage equal to the attack points of Red Eyes can't attack. Works really well, Red Eye's Fusion, which lets you fuse from your hand, deck, or hand, field, or deck to make a Red Eyes monster, fusion monster, but that monster's name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon, and you can't normal summon or special summon the turn you use this card other than this. And then you can use Inferno Fire Blast with it as well, which is really, really cool. They've got their own draw spell, which is cards of the red stone. Discard the Red Eyes, that's level 7. Has to be level 7, so it's kind of to draw 2 cards, and you can mill level 7 Red Eyes. You can only use once per turn. Traded is obviously better, and you can run Allure of Darkness if you want over this as well, but this is still a really nice card. We have Red Eyes Insight. Send a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and a Red spell trap from your deck or hand. Very, very good. You can only play once per turn. Claw of Hermos, not a Red Eyes card, but it does summon out a Red Eyes Fusion, and it is Joey's legendary dragon, so it is somewhat related to the Archetype. And you do need it to summon one particular card. Moving on to the traps, we have Red Eyes Spirit. Target a Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, except Red Eyes Black Chick, summon it. Really good, because it can summon you Zombie, can summon you Darkness Metal. Can't summon Metal or regular Darkness though, but still really, really good to run the deck. Return of the Red Eyes is one of the main reasons why the Geminis actually do work in the deck, is because if you control a Red Eyes monster except Black Chick, you can target one normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if this card is in your possession, is destroyed by opponent's card effects into your graveyard. You can target one Red Eyes monster in your graveyard except Black Chick, special summon it, you can use each effect once per turn. Because it's a continuous trap, much like Eternal Soul, you can use the effect in both turns, so it's really, really good. We have Red Eyes Burn. If a Red Eyes monster you control, except Black Chick, is destroyed by battle card effects, to target one of those monsters, both players take damage equal to its original attack. You can activate one burn per turn. It's used mostly in the OTK builds. It's not great, but it's still it's interesting to use in the burn builds as well, obviously because it's called Red Eyes Burn, but I don't see many people playing it these days. And finally, for our last trap, we have Red Eyes Fangwood Chain. It is based on Kunai Wood Chain, one of Joey's most well-known trap cards. We can target one Red Eyes monster you control, equip it to this card. It can make up to 2 attacks on monsters in each battle phase. You can send this equipped card to the graveyard and target one effect monster on the field. Equip that target to the monster this card was equipped to, and if you do, while a monster is equipped to this effect, its attack and defense become equal to the original attack and defense of the equipped monster. It's a really good combo basically for equipping another equipped target for Gear Freak, and works really well with the new Red Eyes Fusion monster as well. Now we're going to move on to the extra deck, guys. We're starting off with Black Skull Dragon. It is a big dragon with 3200 attack, 2500 defense points, and requires you to fuse Summon Skull and the Red Eyes Black Dragon. It was the combination of Yugi's Summon Skull, obviously, and Joey's Red Eyes, and appeared in the duel against Para and Dox. And it is also treated as an Archfiend card because it does require Summon Skull. Its retrain is the Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. It is a level 6 Archfiend normal monster and a Red Eyes normal monster. This is why people opt to play Summon Skull in the deck, because Archfiend Black Skull Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning is not a normal monster in the deck, whereas Summon Skull is. And then you can only special summon this guy once per turn because he's broken. If this guy battles, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step, and if damage calculation is performed involving this fusion summon card, at the end of the battle phase, you can target one Red Eyes normal monster in your graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the monster in the graveyard, and shuffle it into the deck. This guy is insane. Next up, we have Meteor Black Dragon, which is another generic Red Eyes fusion. Red Eyes Black Dragon plus Meteor Dragon. It boasts a whopping 3,500 attack points. That's huge. Its retrain is Meteor Black Comet Dragon, which is much like Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, is insanely better than its original monster. It requires a level 7 Red Eyes monster and a level 6 Dragon type monster. So it's very specific what you need to use to fuse it, but it's obviously meant to be Black Skull Dragon, Red Eyes and Meteor Dragon, which is really cool. I don't mind that for these monsters. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send one Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the original tag of that monster. And this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard. You can target one normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So you get your Red Eyes back, and you get to burn. And if you use Red Eyes fusion for this, you can burn with this guy. You can use Inferno Fire Blast as well, and then you lose this guy and you get your Red Eyes back. Really, really cool. Next up, we have the Hermos fusion, which is the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. So it must be summoned with the Claw of Hermos and using a dragon monster, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If this card is special summoned, target one other face-up monster on the field, equip it to this card. It gains 1,000 attack and 500 extra attack and defense for each dragon type monster on the field and in the graveyards. This card is so good to run in the deck because it helps your your fusion and your XYZ boss monsters beat over some of your opponent's troublesome cards. And because you're running so many dragons and you have so many ways to mill dragons, you know, even with cards of the Redstone or Red Eyes Insight, you can pump up your dragons pretty quickly. And it is really cool. It does say any dragon, but it is a Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. I wish it would just say Red Eyes. But the fact it does say any dragon means you basically you just top deck this, you top deck Hermos with any of your dragons on the field and you just have this straight away. So it's a lot more reliable than Eye of Timaeus. Obviously both cards can't be searchable, but you know, winning one of Hermos is a lot better than being forced to run two of Timaeus. Then we have the new Red Eyes Fusion, which is Red Eyes / Dragon. So it is Red Eyes Black Dragon plus 1 warrior monster. So it does say 1 warrior monster, so you can splash other warriors in the deck, and there is a chance that because it says 1 warrior monster, that we may get a Red Eyes Flame Swordsman in the future, or a Red Eyes Swordsman of Landstar, because Joy used a lot of warriors in his deck. And so when the Red Eyes monster declares an attack, you can target 1 warrior monster in your graveyard, equip it to this card as an equip spell with this effect. The equipped monster gains 200 attack. When a card or effect is activated that targets a card you control quick effect, you can send 1 equipped card you control to the graveyard, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon as many monsters from your graveyard as possible that were equipped to this card. So you can equip as many monsters as you want to this card. You can equip a bunch of black metal dragons, and you can just get your plus straight away. This card's really good. Hopefully, we do get some more Red Eyes warriors in the deck to make this guy more playable. Because currently, if you're just playing pure Red Eyes, we do only have Gearfried. But of course, there are a lot of other Red Eyes you have in play because it doesn't limit the Red Eyes monsters you have. The only limitation is it's the only fusion that specifically requires Red Eyes Black Dragon itself. So it's still a really cool card. And finally, our last extra deck monster is the XZ, the Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This guy is an asshole to deal with. He was spammed, he was splashed in all rank 7 decks because he only requires 2 level 7 monsters and cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has an XYZ material. And while it has an XYZ material, each time your opponent activates a card effect, it inflicts 500 points of damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. So it's just every time they do something, you just burn them out. And there was a player I used to play, a Dark Magician, that would get me 7,500 damage, and then I'd use, this is before links obviously, then I would overlay back into Red Eyes Flare Metal, and pass turn, they'd play 1 card, and they'd lose the duel. So really cool unless they top deck Raigeki. And then once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, then target 1 Red Eyes normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Again, working really well with the Geminis, because they're all normal monsters in the graveyard, then you can normal summon them on your next turn. So basically, he's still a really good card. Unfortunately, links do limit what you can play, and most of the time, you probably want to go for this guy now. I'd really like to see links for Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, and Red Eyes in the future. I doubt they'll get it because they are classic Archetype monsters, but then people did say that Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, and Dark Magician would never get XCs or Synchros, and they did. So anyway, guys, that is the Archetype analysis for the Red Eyes Black Dragon. I hope you liked it. Please feel free to leave some comments and let me know what other Archetype analysis you would like to see. I am more focused on doing classic decks. I do plan to do Magic Girls, Fairy Tales, and Charmers soon. Charmers are a bit off because I'm trying to get basically everything. But I will be doing Fairy Tales and Magician Girls very soon. Until then, guys, I will catch you for my next video. Thank you so much for watching.